About 2 years ago, I retired my Titan character from PvP. With checkmate becoming the norm, I thought that soon I would return to my main character. To understand why I even took a break from playing Titan, we have to look at the Trials meta. Trials, originally in elimination type mode, was turned into Dominion. This means we went from having to use the most of our time finding ways to eliminate each other to finding ways to get supers that could help us capture a zone for the win. Add in the ability to grant yourself 50 HP overshield, you start to get it. This is simply not my style. I get bored. After a long time of waiting, Bungie finally brought us a PvP update that can change the entire game. This did open the doors to some more creative loadouts. Introducing Agent Venom. Throughout this video, I'm going to break down every single detail of my build that allows this to become its own meta. If you're curious on what inspired this setup, well, all you have to do is look at my gameplay from the past year. It's no surprise that I am in love with Strand Hunter. I love having 2 grapples to go from point A to point B in a matter of seconds. As a top bracket player, movement becomes something we seek out more and more. Movement for top players like water. We just need it.
Be water, my friend.
The thing with grapples is that it has 2 main important roles: to help you move forward faster and to help you do a charge attack. This is huge because if you commit to going forward, the charge attack will allow you to turn back to any direction you look at. I've spent months perfecting the usage of this ability. There are some key things we need to keep in mind. Any forward movement will allow you to charge attack immediately. With enough handling, we're able to use our weapons for a short time before the charge attack becomes unavailable. So I need to figure out a way to bring what I love best about Strand Hunter over to my Titan. I looked at exotic after exotic, and eventually my eyes landed on Armamentarium. While this may look like a basic exotic that grants you an extra grenade charge, you have to remember that our subclasses has ways that can make grenades even more dangerous. With Armamentarium, I basically have the Widow Silk aspect for free on my Titan. I have several hours on the game, so I understood as much as I needed to from all the aspects. First of all, let's take a look at Banner of War. Defeat a target with a melee attack, finisher, or sword to raise a banner of war that pulses with energy, periodically healing nearby allies and increasing melee and sword damage. And Into the Fray says, destroying a tangle or casting your super grants Woven Mail for nearby allies. While you have Woven Mail, your melee regeneration rate is increased. So first we need to understand how Banner of War helps this character survive in these close range encounters, because we are grappling to people's faces and attempting to get a charge attack on them. So with any melee kill, we activate Banner of War. While we get a little bit of a HP bump, that's not really the most game-changing thing. After getting that melee kill, we actually activate the strand abilities from our punch that allows us to create a tangle on the spot. This tangle then synergizes with Into the Fray. I get to destroy it or throw it on me, or just use it for damage to create a point where I can walk around, get Woven Mail, and also get myself another little bit of a speed bump to my regeneration. For every character in the game, there are 6 stats that you can focus into: mobility, resilience, recovery, discipline, intellect, and lastly, strength. As a Titan, my priority stat is usually resilience because this means I can pop more barricades. Next up was my main important stat on any character that I always prioritize, and that is recovery. Considering that I'm going to be playing very aggressive on Agent Venom, I need to regenerate my health very fast, and it means that other players cannot clean me up as quickly, and I can always just participate in fighting again. With resilience and recovering down, it was time for me to look at my discipline, because this is the one that's going to help me get my grapples back fast, and that's why I decided to put it up to tier 9. For comparison's sake, a grapple setting at tier 0 is a 2-minute 11-second cooldown, while tier 9 it goes all the way down to a 1-minute cooldown. Next is strength, which is always usually something that I ignore on most of my characters because, well, I don't care too much about having a melee charge, but you'll see why I changed my opinion later. I'm usually always getting into matches where supers do come into play. I did some test runs and I figured out that my intellect stat was just way too low, sitting at tier 7. I decided to bump this to tier 9. I was almost always consistently getting my super just in time to actually battle out some wells and some bubbles and just clutch the win in general for some of these games. I just felt very slow on my time. Every time I wasn't using that grapple, I just felt like a turtle. I couldn't strafe too much. I wasn't really fast, so I needed to make sure I bumped my mobility because it would just feed into the playstyle that I wanted with my Agent Venom. Just in case you have forgotten, mobility does 3 things. It increases your walk speed, your strafe speed, and it also increases your crouch speed. And of course, the last one I won't forget, it increases the height of your initial jump. So as you can see, mobility isn't completely useless, which is why I tested with things like tier 3 to tier 4, and ultimately the sweet spot that I found was tier 5. But of course, with these stat changes of running tier 5 mobility and tier 9 intellect, there has to be a price. Somewhere in my stats, something had to pay, and that was the resilience. So instead of running tier 10 resilience, I actually dropped it down to tier 7, which is a special sweet spot that I would say, because not only are you still getting barricades pretty fast consistently throughout the game, this is the threshold where you can counter 120 hand cannons. Normally 120s have to hit 2 headshots, 1 body shot to kill, but at this health pool, they have to hit 3 crits if they want to take you down. So as you can see, the stats were pretty difficult to achieve, but thanks to allowing my fragments to be freed from you just trying to synergize with my subclass, I used them as simple stat bonuses. Now we have to look at the mods and see how we finish this setup up. So I'm going to slap on Dynamo. This mod means that whenever I pop my class ability near targets, my super cooldown is reduced. I get to get it faster, and this is one of those ways that I'm going to compete with things like bubbles and wells. I'm left with 3 energy left, so I can use this for my primary targeting of whatever sort I decide. Next, I'm actually going to leave this slot open so I can use this with my primary weapons such as reloading and dexterity mods. On my chest piece, I'm leaving these open to actually use unflinching mods for my primary weapon. On my boots, I'm running better already, so whenever I do pick up an orb, I get my health regeneration back faster, and I'm running a innervation mod so I can get my grapples back quicker, and also an insulation mod so I can get that barricade back quicker. Lastly, on my Titan class item, I'm actually running the Reaper mod, so whenever I pop my class ability, defeat someone, I get that overpower, which synergizes with the mods on my boot. And the last 2 mods are actually a bomber. I want the grapples as much as possible throughout the game. This means more movement, more repositioning, more running away, and more just charge attacking other players with that good old charge shotgun attack. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have the fully perfected Agent Venom. I'm curious to hear your thoughts down in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, drop me a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.